Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion. Oh, there you are.
About goddamn time you can control the camera, and I'm Old Man Raptor, and our guest is... Got that out quick.
Hey, and I'm Nekonny. Hello again.
Hello again. Thank you very much for rejoining us. It's been a year since we last talked with you. Since last vket?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, that year's
That's
gone by
great.
quick. A lot of new stuff happening, a lot of changes to Vrchat, a lot of new stuff with virtual market. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Oh. So what have you been up to this last year? Because Raptor and I both got to see the new booth, and it looked fantastic and amazing. The whole experience of the giant space battles and stuff. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Loved it.
So, yeah, no, I've been working on a couple of things, actually. As you can see, I've got one of the new robot avatars that I started working on, which is a Nekonny. It started off as a upgrade to a previous avatar, but then I started to work on it from scratch. And through the suggestion of a couple of great friends, I decided to make it more anthro related. So we got a cat version, and I'm working on a wolf version and maybe a rabbit version too in the future.
Oh, wow.
Aside from that, I've got the new mechamart experience, as you mentioned, at Virtual Market Summer, which just ended, I believe, a month, maybe 2 months ago, depending on when you watch this video. But hopefully the worlds will be online soon again.
Oh, wow. So,
Cool.
wow.
Nice.
The avatars look amazing, by the way. What you're in, it looks really, really cool.
Oh, no, thank you. Appreciate it. This is one of the ones that I'm trying to learn, like, I'm trying to learn new things, like Substance Painter. This is my first foray into Substance Painter. And although it looks kind of flat right now, I really like the glossy and matte color scheme. But I'm also using Substance Painter to really learn new painting techniques, so normal. So expect a lot more to come out for this avatar as well in the future.
Oh, so let's start with what kinds of things did you work on for the vket mechamart? What kinds of things did you put in and advertise this year that was different over last year's experience?
So I had an idea that I wanted to involve a space battle because mechamart is sci-fi related, right? And with the event coming up, I really wanted to include a space battle in it. So around February, actually, of this year, I started working on what would then eventually become the final scene, where you have the standard boss fight. You have a lot of spaceships. You're on a bridge. It's got a lot of inspiration from old animes like Macross, also known as Robotech. Oh my God, Space Battle Yamato, like so much anime, a lot of Star Wars, Star Fox. I got a lot of Star Fox in there too, references. And then it kind of evolved from there. Slowly as time progressed, I started adding more and more and more to it. And there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to do with it, but I wasn't actually able to due to time constraints. But the final result was very, very satisfactory.
So I remember last year when you're talking about the whole booth experience you're looking for. It's like a big shader in a box that you'd go through. Was there anything different over last year in terms of that, or is it all function the same in terms of like it's like a big rectangular shader?
So this year, I ran into a little bit of technical issues. Notably, I did not actually get a booth this year. It was thanks to the collaboration with a couple of other people that did get a booth that I got one both for the Quest Worlds, which was actually World End Utopia, which was the same universe that the previous Mechamart was set in. And I also collabed with Shadow River on a booth in the Makuri world, which is the furry universe that vket features almost every single event they have. So I worked with them on that. The main challenge for the quest-based world was the fact that that shader isn't designed for quest. So I actually collaborated with Uma, which is a shader creator for VRchat. He does a lot of stuff that a lot of people use. And he had a prototype that he wanted to make Quest compatible. So we started working on that. Unfortunately, he got it to run, but unfortunately, the size limit for booths for this year for Quest got reduced by quite a bit. And again, I ran out of time, so it ended up being more of a tech demo, but for future possibilities. So if you happen to visit the Quest world and you see just a spaceship shooting off into space, it's still something similar to that, but it's very limited because I only had a 3 megabyte limit, which even for me was kind of not possible for me to do a lot that I usually do. Now,
Mm.
for the PC version, that I wanted to go all out.
Mm.
And I actually did use both the Luma version and the DX version of the shader. The Luma version allowed me to render objects within the world itself. So when you start the experience, the top of your booth actually falls off, and you get to see objects that weren't in the map before. Like you have a walker that's coming down a giant robot that's coming down the aisle of the road, and you have the spaceship that actually flies in from overhead and lands on top of you to scoop you up and take you off on this new adventure. So yeah, a lot of experimentation. There were things that I wanted to do, but I wasn't able to. So I'm thinking about possibly implementing it next time.
Oh, wow. So how long did it take you to make that experience you made for PC from beginning to end? Like, when did you start it for VCAT?
I think the first file I have, the first Blender backup file is dated like early February. But
Mm.
I was on and off for quite a while. I went on vacation in the middle of it. I had another vacation after, and I took it easy at first. And then, of course, you always have crunch time because we didn't know when the event was, and because I like to make my booths try to fit into the world lore as much as I can. I really didn't know what world I was going to get until much later, when the whole lottery results had come out. So, oh man, I did it little by little, but most of the work was done towards the last like month and a half, where it really became crunch time. Oh, of course, there's something important to mention too, because it's not just the modeling, it's the animation, it's the sound editing, it's the translation. Because if you happen to understand Japanese or would like to see it in a different language version, you can actually select Japanese at the beginning. And for me to do that properly, I had an amazing amount of help for both Haya and Potato, which both got together and once again did the translation for the actual booth itself. And Haya went above and beyond to help find a text to speech Japanese AI voice text to speech, and she did the whole thing where the intonations would be correct, so it actually sounds like correctly pronounced Japanese for the situation it's in. So I have a lot of thank yous to send to both them and to everybody that participated in the little cameos that we had during the actual booth itself.
Oh, wow. Well, wow. I'm gonna be honest. This year's entire booth and the whole experience was amazing and fantastic. It was a lot of fun to watch, and it was very immersive and pulled you in. You did really, really good, and so did Haya and everyone else. Like, I would give you a round of applause.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun to actually ride through it compared to like the first time, and then I was just dumbfounded. It was just great. And I went through it a second time with somebody else. I can't remember who was with me. Oh, Zero. Zero was with me when we went through it a second time and stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Hmm.
Got a kick out of it.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. There were a couple of things that I unfortunately didn't have time to implement that are still going to be possibly for future uses. One of them is multiple paths.
Hmm.
I've realized that you can reach a part of the video where you notice the fake JPEG fire button at the end, right? I
Hmm.
would have actually implemented something like that where you could have chosen to run away, eject right off the bat, or press the fire button, but I ran out of time. However, I did realize that it's possible for me to load different YouTube videos because all the audio and the videos from the different monitors, that's all streamed from YouTube. So I realized that I can make multiple routes available, and it wouldn't really cost me anything extra because that's all streaming. So I could possibly get my videos. You could get to a point where you could pick to go left or right or up or down or fire or escape or any
Hmm.
number of things. The other thing I really wanted to do was interactions, like objects from outside coming into the booth and vice versa, because that is a possibility to do too. I just never really had any time to explore it. with
Oh,
animation on that scale can get pretty complicated.
I'm sure. What sprouted the idea for multiple pathways? What made you wanted to try and include that this year? May I ask?
I wanted to give people a greater level of interactivity. I mean, I think I got the immersion sort of down pat
Mm,
with the fact that you're going through everything, but I also wanted to address some people that were experiencing a lot of motion sickness from the times that the pod rotated in the first one.
mm.
So this time around, I only made it go straight and shifting to the side and back. So you're never actually rotating. So the possibility of you having motion sickness goes down a lot, so more people could enjoy it. But the multiple paths was like an idea for me to have that interactivity where, hey, look, I didn't just experience it, I was part of the action that was taking place. The kind of pseudo interaction that you have is actually pushing the fire button at the end. Which I imagine everybody's going to have fun, like just hitting that giant fire button a bunch of times until everything turns off and you actually shoot off your giant laser and defeat the final bad guy. Oh, this reminds me. There was one other interactable object that I wanted to do that we got up
Mm.
to a prototype, but I didn't have any time to implement. At one point, you were going to be able to actually grab a joystick and a gun and actually control a giant gun as you're firing at different spaceships within the map itself. We got a
Oh,
prototype of that work. However, you don't actually cause any damage. So it would have been more like just a fun little gimmick to use, something for the future, I guess.
hmm. That sounds really cool.
Right.
So, with what kinds of things were you trying to advertise this year in that booth, may I ask, with that whole animation to pull people in? What were you hoping people would have bought this year?
Well, first off, there was my previous avatars that I had already put up for sale. I've done a lot of refinements to them all, so I didn't just create the project and kind of abandoned it. I wanted to continue providing more and more features to it. But I
Mm.
also had started working on this one, and this was the main. I actually released this first, like a early release for Virality. Had a booth over there, but I also ended up wanting to release it for like the official big release was going to be for vket itself, and that was the major thing. Aside from that, I did create a new gachapon avatar. If you're familiar with the vending machine avatar I had,
Yep.
I also wanted to make gachapon into a vending machine, and it works kind of the same way. You like trot around, and all the little gachas are actually interactable. I still have to do a little bit more on that one for prizes to pop out and everything. But I love these kind of like real world objects that all of a sudden are just like moving around, and people have a blast of it too. So,
Hmm. Okay. Now, did you sell a lot of the new avatar this year, Mask? Because I'm kind of curious how well does booths in like vket or Virality do you get a lot of traction from them?
well, I was surprised. I actually did get a lot of traction from Virality, but at the same time, that's when the release date. So I'm kind of new to selling avatars on Booth and on Gumroad. So I still have a lot to learn about that process, and I've got friends that have been selling for years, so I'm gonna pick their brains a lot more going forward. For Virality, I sold like 11
Oh
models, and it's
wow.
hard for me to gauge because I don't really know what other people do as far as sales are concerned. But considering that it's a robot in a furry convention in VR, I assume it's probably did pretty well. Since then, like for the actual convention itself, currently, I still have to kind of run the numbers, but it's been about the same amount. And I've been
Okay.
getting sales, like a sale every other day, one or two would sell, which is actually pretty nice. I highly recommend. Like, I mean, if you're ever going to go into doing like accessories or avatars, it's worthwhile. My greatest regret is I didn't start earlier because the market seems to be getting more and more sophisticated. People's taste in it, and you have more and more people producing. So if you're afraid of starting, start today. I really recommend it, and your future self will thank you.
Hmm.
That'd be
Yeah.
great to see more producers out
Okay.
there.
Oh. Now,
Nice.
what were you doing prior to using like vket and Virality and stuff like that to promote yourself? What were you doing before?
Well, we had the like before. I was mostly doing the Kimono Cafe, and that was mostly promotion of webcomic hosts, which I've talked about before in the show. So, the Kimono Cafe is a group of furry webcomic artists, and we advertise each other online. We advertise each other's comics. We draw. We have fun. We have a central comic hub that acts like a place where all the comic characters from all these different universes can interact. And when I started getting interested in VR back in 2000, late 2000, 2000, sorry, late 2020, 2021, I started getting interested in creating my own avatars. I thought, oh, this might actually be a great medium for advertising these comics because you had a large furry community. I mean, having an actual avatar is a lot cheaper than having your fursuit and a lot more comfortable too, might I add. So I've been told.
Mm.
So it seemed like a natural place to do advertisement of this. And it had a lot of resounding feedback, especially during the first vkets that I participated in. And when I finally decided to switch to doing avatars, I figured, well, vket's a market that's designed for selling avatars. What the heck not sell over there? And, sure enough, that worked out pretty well.
Oh, wow. So, no, the avatar you're in now, what sprouted the ideas for it, and what kind? And you did mention that you had to learn some new things involved with it. Tell us about the whole creation of it. I'm very interested.
So I was still kind of brand new to Blender. I've done a lot of stuff with a couple of worlds like VR, like the Vrchat, which is the Brazilian community map. I did a lot of stuff for vket, which taught me a lot about optimization. So my primary objectives was making a new robot avatar that was going to be rated medium, with a lot of polygons and materials left over for people that wanted to add accessories. Because as you know, one of the problems we're having with a lot of avatars is that even when you're buying it first time, they just go to the very poor. Like the other day, I saw an avatar with I don't even think this was possible. It was 2 billion with a B polygons. Because I feel like they had downloaded everything that was free in Gumroad and loaded it into a single avatar. I do not know how that thing loaded. Anyway, I got a bit off the point. I do enjoy making stuff that's optimized, simple, and yet is going to look as good as it possibly can, because I love the challenge of working within constraints. vket taught me that, and now I'm trying to apply that towards the robot models that I'm selling. So that's mostly what the design ends up being. A lot of my robot avatars, I was first inspired by a Japanese anime series, which is actually a Disney product called Fireball. And within that series, it's a robot. It's a white robot, very simple design, but extremely sleek. It is really well designed and thought of. And it had 4 short seasons. The episodes are 2 minutes apiece. But I fell in love with the design, and I started studying it and going on Instagram and seeing other people that were interested in doing stuff that was similar to that. And I guess that's the inspiration with me going mostly towards the whole robotic theme of avatar creation.
And so the avatar you're in specifically kind of came from Dragon Ball, the avatar you're wearing now.
Well, not Dragon Ball. It's called Fireball. The series is called Fireball.
Yep.
Yeah. Fireball Charming. They got 4 seasons, but the episodes are super short. I highly recommend it. It's only 2 minutes long. So you can literally watch all 4 seasons in an hour. It's that thing you watch during the commercialization between one show and another. So it's kind of inspired by that. I actually have that avatar, which is my first avatar project was recreating that for Vrchat, and I did my best to stay as close to the original format as possible. And I really get a real kick out of recreating something that you see that might not be available in VR. So that was the big challenge in that area.
Now, how long did it take to develop this, and do you think you've gotten close to the original source material?
Development in Vrchat, for anybody that does this a lot, it's like a never-ending mountain. At one point, you need to tell yourself you're done. You got to move on to the next project. Otherwise, you will never finish. I'm currently on revision number 5 of that character, so I'm not following my own advice on that one. But I would have to show you later. I think I did a decent job. The good thing is, because it's an anime series, but it's a CG anime, so it's entirely computer generated. It's by Disney. It's Japan only. So if you have Disney Plus and you have a VPN, you can actually watch the series, or you could just go online and catch it and check it out. But I think I did a pretty close approximation of it. Remind me to show you later, or if you want, you can include a couple of links for the world that I actually developed. Because not only did I do the avatar, I did the entire world they're in, which
Oh,
isn't
really?
much. It's just a hallway, but still, I really got a kick out of how nice it came out.
Wow. Not saying you should go visit it, audience member, but you definitely should go visit it. In the description is the exact thing you got to go look for. You see a link called Worlds, and I'll have a link for you there.
Yes, please do visit. Please do visit.
Cool. So, I have a question.
Um,
Ooh, sorry. You continue first, and then I'll ask my question.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
How many different robot models do you have for sale, and what were the inspirations behind them, may I ask? Because I'm kind of curious. Because as you go through some of the experience you've developed for both last year's vket and this one, you do show the models that you have made, and there are quite a few of them.
I think I have a total of 4 for sale, but I have 6, I think, that I've made. I made 2 specially for this event. One was the M800. Like, as you're going through the booth, the previous booth had a TV screen where you had M800, which was the Pram AI. And she was basically an AI that would interface with you, her expressions changed as she talked, and she would explain everything that was going on. In this event, it starts off as still a screen, although the interface is kind of different, where she rotates around your central position. But eventually you see that she's also installed herself on a robot body. So she gets a robot body from another character and basically has a huge TV on her head. And she still has the same kind of expressions she had before. So it becomes something that people had a blast actually seeing it. And I made that into an avatar just so I could interact with people in a better way than just having one of my more random robots. And it worked out really good too. So I had a blast with it. And I think people enjoyed themselves quite a bit. Let me see. Aside from that, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but people that are familiar with vket or familiar with the World End Utopia map have noticed that it being long story short, it's a post-apocalyptic world, and the humans versus the robots. You don't actually see any robot carcasses anywhere, but you see the human, not bodies, but you see their tanks and their vehicles that they use. And one of them was a crab tank. It basically looks like a giant robot with crab. And that was the humans' weapon of war in that engagement. And I've always really been interested. I thought, man, this is so cool. Why is this not an avatar? They have all the assets there. You put some legs in there, you throw it on Final IK, and boom, you're getting yourself a good avatar. But I asked them for it a couple of times. They said, we've been busy with a lot of things. And I asked them, like, is it okay if I make it? And they said, look, as long as you don't sell it, you can freely distribute it as a public avatar, but you can't sell it. And I said, oh great, I have no problems with that. I'll make it as a fan project. And I really like how it came out. I went there, took pictures. Again, same thing as with the Fireball and the Drossel. I tried to make it as good as I could to the original, and then go beyond with like higher grade textures. And I'll have to show you that one later because I really like how it came out.
Oh, wow! And those were the newer creations you've made this year. Both of those, the crab robot and the avatar you're currently in.
So the crab avatar is available for free because I'm not selling that one. And that is when the worlds come back, you can find the World End Utopia. You'll see mechamart there. It's within the bottom. You can get it for free. As far as the Nekonny, which is this one, you can either find it on my booth, my Gumroad, or for the demo. Once the maps come back up, it'll be on the demo site as well. So both of those should be available there. But yeah, that was the main stuff that was new. The M800 is more of a personal avatar that I'll be using to advertise the site going forward. So I don't think I'm really going to make that one public. There are a couple of other things that projects that I've had in mind, bits and pieces. Like the cool thing with robots, right, is you can design a part. Like I can make a different arm, and I could swap it out, and the style, for the most part, will flow just perfect. So you can actually switch out parts with others. So I've been messing around, mixing and matching. Sometimes I'll say, oh, that's a really cool foot I'll see on Pinterest, or I just a good idea for a robot foot. So I'll design it and throw it in an archive. Later on, I'll just start grabbing a bunch of parts, put them together, and then optimize it, and it can look cool, or I can make changes so the whole style flows. That's pretty much what I've been working on as far as creations are concerned.
Okay. Well, I will say the new creation that you're in actually looks really cool, I will say. I kind of want one myself.
Much appreciated. Like I said, there was a lot of people that told me, it's like, oh man, that would be awesome. Can you make it into like a fox or a wolf or a rabbit version. I said, you know what? That actually wouldn't be that hard. So I'm hoping that that would be something that will be released in the future. I just want to include it in a package. So if you've already gotten it, any updates that I do to it, you can just go there and download the alternatives and they'll all be free.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
That's actually a really nice thing of you to do. If you bought the avatar, you can get the alts for free. That's a really kind of thing for you to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you
Yeah.
made them its own avatar, to be honest.
Yeah, I figured it's not too much work, and I've already put the work into the main. I see the more
Mm.
people that see it, the more people that that are going to want to possibly get it. So it's a win-win situation for everybody, I think.
Okay. So from doing this year's VCAT, what kind of feedback or interactions with the audience did you have this year while being at your booth, either for mechamart or your comic community? What kind of interactions did you have this year?
So for the mechamart, because it's not something that I have to present and the animations are individual, there's no way for me to actually be there and filming. So what I ended up doing was every day or every other day I would go on Twitch and look at the most recent streams that happen to have VKET in the name. And if they happen to be visiting the world, there goes my leg again. If they happen to be visiting the world, I would go ahead and just make a personal recording of that little section. I ended up with, after 2 weeks of event, I ended up with like 73 recordings. Oh my god! And that's just the ones I found. I haven't even really searched YouTube yet, and I can imagine there's probably a couple on YouTube. It's interesting because I don't see that many Japanese streamers on Twitch, but I see a lot of Japanese streamers on YouTube. I don't know if they have their own streaming platform they prefer to use, but that's what I notice as far as like
Mm.
recording. I hope to eventually create a video with like the best reactions to the booth itself. But for now, it's mostly just a personal collection.
Mm.
As far as the Kimono Cafe, so this year I did a Kimono Cafe. I
Mm.
did not have a lot of time to do it. I had basically what due to certain complications with the release of the SDK for us to create, and for time limitations on the map, I only really had 4 days to make it. They
Mm.
extended it for another 4 days, but I didn't have any more time. I was going to go on a trip. It was a little bit complicated.
Mm.
But the great thing about this is that they give us a much larger booth. Normal booths are 4 by 4 by 5 meters, right? This one was like 10 by 15 by 8, so massive and a lot more stuff. Man, if I had that from February, I would have done so much. I would have done so much, but unfortunately, the time constraints didn't allow it. Thankfully, I had almost given up and said, "Hey, look, I'm just not going to be able to do it because it's just enough time." I had made some static models, but that was it. I had a good friend, Haran, that actually started, which was the person that's been teaching me Substance Painter,
Mm.
and thank goodness they came through and they helped me substance paint the Escapade, which is the steam train,
Mm.
passenger train that is part of the Kimono Cafe storyline. So we have that. We have a station. Unfortunately, it's kind of lackluster. However, because it was a community event, VKET's incredible. So if you have a community in VRChat, um, like any kind of community, you can apply for a community booth. And if they approve your application, you get this large space. It's free of charge, and they will promote your community within that map in VCAT. And during the 2 weeks of VCAT, you can hold as many events there as you want. And basically, we had a gathering about 40, 50 people
Mm.
where I did a presentation with Sandy of the Kimono Cafe, and then we took a bunch of pictures within the train itself. So that was pretty successful. People really did enjoy that. We even had some people from VCAT stop by and give their hello and talk about the event itself. And after we were done, I don't know if you had the chance to do this, but in this virtual market, they had the Osaka battle, the giant crab versus the giant robot.
Mm.
If you got an opportunity to do that, oh, that was amazing. I do hope they bring that back in the future because it was really great. So after we were done with the Kimono Cafe presentation, everybody got together and we went to go defeat the giant crab. So a
Oh.
fun time.
They also did another really cool thing at this year's VCAT with the little horror experience you get at the end of one of the maps. That was really cool if you got into that. I think you put in a special code, you go down the stairs and you start an entire a storyline, which I thought was really sick, to be honest, as well.
Did you get to experience that one, Raptor, too, or did you miss out on
Yeah,
that
you
one?
did. You were there with us. Remember Asterix? We went with her community through it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I was there. Yeah, but didn't I get there late?
No, we waited for you.
I think I got. Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably was. Brain fart. Getting old. Can't remember shit.
Yeah, no, I'm too much of a scaredy cat for those kind of things. I did the first one. I said, "Oh, horror experience. All right, I'm going with a couple people. Should be fine." I did the first one. Oh no, this isn't that bad. Got a little bit of spooked at the end when you get the. It's not really a jump scare, but you turn back and there's like all those people behind you. But that was that's fine. But when I went into the second one, my God, when I went into the second one, as soon as I exited that area and the whole this creepy song. I don't know if it was Hayas. I know Hayas sings the song in English, but I think she told me that somebody else sung the Japanese version. It's when things started getting creepy. So like, well, see you later. I'm out, and I just exit stage left, and I was out. I was out of there. I could not. It was not for me. I'm not a horror person.
Was the second one? Is that the one with the shrine, little shacks with eyeballs you get to keep on staring at? Is that the one you're referring to?
I know which one he's talking about.
Yeah, so vket worlds are always divided into two, right? You have the first world, and then you have another version of the same world with different booths. So during the first one, and if you notice at the beginning, it'll tell you this. The first one takes place during the summer, and the second one takes place during the winter. And if I'm not mistaken, you go back in time, and the second one to see what actually happened. The first one's after the fact. I could have my facts mixed up, but I know they happen 7 months apart. So much that when you're first loading into the world, you get a date. And so you get to see the fact that there's children missing. And then later on, you find out the why as you live through what happened to vket-chan. So yeah, the first one I think you get the code. At the end of the first one, you get the code. And the second one, you use that code to unlock the door at the end of the booth to be able to go through. Now, for those of you that don't like horror, the map itself, the horror portion only happens at the end, and it wasn't mandatory for you to get any of the achievements. So if you're not a horror person, you're not missing out anything other than the horror portion of it. But for those of you that do like it, you can either run through everything or enjoy the booths along the path and then take it to the end. But when the maps do come back, if you are a person that enjoys horror experiences in VRChat, it's probably a recommendation. I wouldn't know. I did watch the people playing it on PC. That's about the most I could do, but VR is too much for me.
Hey, to each their own.
probably
I wouldn't
recommend.
expect you to do something you don't like. Horror is not for everybody, but I thought it was a really cool touch they did this year as well. Not just the giant robot battle, but they added more than just that, which I enjoyed personally as well. Like, you don't just go see booths and interact with communities and stuff. You also other things to do, like the date with vket-chan, the giant robot battle, the horror experience. I thought those were really nice touches.
It was like I think one of the largest interaction things that I've ever seen in the vket. And like the experience itself, especially the second one, was almost like you will actually walk back through the entire map towards the end. So it ended up being bigger than the map itself. Every time I would go into the VRChat listing of worlds for vket, it was always the one with the highest population count. Everybody did. Everybody did it, which is really good. I mean, it's great that they're doing these kind of things. The map itself is wonderfully rendered. I mean, it's supposed to be a more realistic style Japanese coastal town that's like on the fringes. So you only have one road in, you go through a tunnel. In the beginning, it almost seems like a Ghibli movie. Cars parked outside. You can't even get in with a car. You have to actually go because your car won't fit through the tiny tunnel. You go inside, and then you have the village. The village just goes up to the top where the shrine is, and that's it. It seems simple, but it's so well done, so immersive. You got the shops, the signs are translated, so it's really good for people that both languages. Oh, I really did enjoy it. The village part, not the horror part, because the horror is not for me. I hope they do more of those in the future.
I hope so too. You know, the world of the horror experience happened. Remind me of an anime. I wish I remembered the name too, but the whole concept is there's two people separate from each other, and I actually was shown this one, and they're on two separate times. Not two separate times. They've met, and then they forget each other, and there are two different time loops or something like that, and they go through and they have to re-meet each other. It had that kind of feel to it. One lived in the past.
I know which one you're talking about.
Giant
It's a
comet
boy
meteor.
and a girl.
Yeah, comet and meteor.
Yeah, Your Name. I think it's called Your Name in
Yeah,
English.
yeah. That was it. Had the world kind of had that kind of feel to it, the horror experience a little bit, and it is your name.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, they swap bodies, and
Yeah,
you never really know that they're in different time zones until much later. It's definitely worth a watch. I
definitely worth a
I
watch.
remember seeing that on once. It was a really good movie.
Okay. Now that we're on that kind of thing, for the Kimono Cafe, any new comics that you and your community are working on? Anything that people could look forward to that's different from over last year?
Actually, we picked up a couple of new comics, and we're actually doing interviews for making another one. Luxar recently introduced a new comic with us. It's really well done. Luxar's a Mexican artist. I met him during on for her when I went down there to represent the Kimono Cafe. I think like last year during October, and we picked him up. It's a very nice comic. It's a slice of life. I don't want to give too much of it away because it's a slice of life. I would really recommend checking out the Kimono Cafe and looking at this comic. We also have a couple of other ones that are coming into play. One of them is from one of our current artists, Vrchat, which has to deal with centaurs living on a farm.
Mm.
So it's pretty interesting. Vrchat is known for doing a lot of transformation comics, and he does a really good job. His production rate is through the roof. How they manage to produce at the rate they do is amazing. And now this is like his second or third comic that he's working on. Las Lindas is progressing great. We're getting towards a whole new chapter in the story. The Eye's doing good. I mean, all the comics are doing fantastic. Even I'm start getting back into doing comics again. If I can find myself the time, you have to have a lot of discipline for doing comic work. I have all the respect in the world for people that do,
Hmm.
just because it's just that much work.
I have respect for anyone who can draw like that in the first place. I'm going to be honest, poking around the Kimono Cafe and looking at some of the comics myself, I'm impressed with just the fact that they have such great art styles and it looks fantastic. I don't think I'd ever have the patience to even get close to that kind of skill what you guys such as yourself can do, even with avatars as well.
Okay.
Uh,
It's
no,
okay, Lion. You can draw stick people just like everybody else and make a nice comic.
Oh, now I want to see it. Now I want to see a lion stick figure comic. You got to make it. I mean, it's got to be there. I want to see it.
Me and Lion is stick people. Me and Lion is stick people bitching each other out. That'd be a great comic. Yeah, I think I'd buy that. Yeah, why not?
And you could put a disclaimer at the end, not AI generated at all. No, there you go.
At all. No, not at all. Just a lion with a dot onto it and a couple arms walking around going, it's not Hangman, okay? There's no words below to add to it. Okay, you're doing fine.
Oh.
Well, speaking of AI, did you notice the song at the end of the booth itself?
I didn't.
I don't know if you stayed
Which
to the very
booth?
end.
I'm not sure. I did stay very long, but tell us about it.
So at the end of the mechamart booth, there is you're fighting the space battle, and the space battle ends, and then you're ejected back to the planet which you originally started, and therefore the whole ride experience ends. But I had it's a funny story. I had a trip planned overseas
Mm.
on the 27th. The original day was the 24th. It got extended to the 1st. It's the 20. It's the 26th. I think I have no more time. I I don't have any ending. I got nothing. Just send it as it is. It's fine. Then I get a message from my airline that says, "Hey, we've moved your trip back a day. It's been canceled. Bad weather, huge storms. We've moved it back." So I got 24 hours to make an ending for this thing. So I went everywhere. It's like, what can I do in 24 hours? So I said, well, I can get online. I can record a couple of videos, but I'm not going to be able to really edit anything. Not that detailed anyway. So I thought to myself, like, well, I have this, and I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Suno, but Suno is a music generator where you can put a theme, and you can just plug a theme in, and it will generate a song for you, like a minute or two long. And I just typed in mechamart jingle, a jingle for mechamart robot store. That's it. And I produced a couple of different results, and one of them is like, oh my God, this looks like a 1960s jingle for like a regular local supermarket store, and it was perfect. So I reduced it a little bit, and then I went online and I basically did the whole sing and dance routine you would expect from commercials from way back when, and it came out so good. It came out so good, and I don't have a problem saying that. Like, yes, it was AI generated because I'm full disclosure. I'm not going to pretend I did it because I did that in the last 24 hours. But I know people have a lot of different opinions on AI. Personally, I see AI as a tool for you to use,
Mm.
but not something that substitutes. If I had the time, I guarantee you it would have been a lot better if I got somebody to do it. Use what I made as a concept, but then actually hired the artist to be able to do it. And it's something that I'm still thinking about doing for the future. But
Mm.
like, yeah, if you hadn't noticed it, there it is. It's something that when we do check it out later, you can have a look and see it.
Yeah. Well, I very much agree with the whole AI thing. As
Oh,
long as it's used as a tool and not a replacement, because I don't like if you're to look at a lot of AI stuff, you could see it doesn't really have a soul. But if you use it as a tool to work alongside you, I don't see much of harm as long as you don't overdo it. I guess is the way to put it. Uh, how do you feel about it being an artist and an avatar and a world builder yourself? The whole use of AI and VR.
Come a long way.
Mm.
If you had asked me 3 years ago if AI could do any of the shit that it does today, I would have said you're insane and go check into a hospital somewhere because it's just not possible. And oh my God, the videos. I mean, like, oh, okay, I can generate text and have a conversation. That's fine. What do you mean it does photos? What do you mean it does audio? What do you mean it does video? What the hell's going on here? We're Skynet? Skynet? No, no. Do not put that stuff in charge of any military stuff. No, don't do it. But as far as the creative platform is concerned, for people, I like I said before, it's great as it is right now. It's great for generating concepts, but I feel like the final product that's going to be made by a person is always going to be much better in the
Mm.
sense that it's more customized to what you want. AI always gives out that feeling of good enough, but it's not like it's
Mm.
not like yes, this is the perfect thing. Even the songs I generate, if you pay attention to them, will always have like a bunch of errors, or if you pay attention to the lyrics, like nothing makes sense.
Mm.
Will it improve? Maybe. I don't know. It really depends on, like all things, all like everything that drives everything, you gotta, if there's no money behind it, it ain't gonna go anywhere. And I've heard a lot of things about like AI companies failing because they just can't find a form of income as a result of the stuff they produce. So, but yeah, it's been pretty amazing.
Mm. It is pretty cool. Like with the songs, like as you mentioned, I was quite impressed with Suno, the how well it churns out music and how good it sounds. Like I've messed around with it myself just to see what it can do. Put in a bunch of random things I want to do, and it did okay. Kind of sounded like the vocals had no emotion to it, but it sounded okay. I was quite impressed. There's been a few YouTubers as well. There's like one dude who'll like do drum solo or drum work to it, and he like would have it make like catchy country songs about beer for breakfast and weird stuff like that, and it's funny. Hello, we're here to interrupt the most interesting thing being said in our current video to ask you a favor, which is, would you mind joining us on any of the socials we have, such as Discord? We're hanging out all the time playing video games, so you can catch us there very frequently. We have I run Twitter for us, which is LionTurtle21 on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. It'll always be Twitter, but either way, there's that. We also have a Patreon, which we actually have a whole other show for our Patreon members, which are Aliquum and the newest addition to the bunch, Future Oracle.
Niche and Forbidden Zero, good friends of ours.
Yeah, thank you very much, you guys, for joining. It means a whole lot that you're there,
Yes.
and hope to see you there as well. We have a whole other show. There are some free ones we have released as well for the audio for you to listen to and to see what it's like. It's like a whole other show as a thank you. With that said, please enjoy the rest of your podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like I even took that to my mom, for example. It's like, Mom, check this out. It's so cool. Give me like an experience you've been through. Oh, I was flying Spirit Airlines. And I put it in there. I didn't even say anything about them, but like the country, it came out with country tunes about flying Spirit Airlines. Face are cramped. My legs won't fit anywhere. They're gonna nickel and dime me and my dog. It was just hilarious. But it's funny we live in this day
Nickel
and
and
age
dime your
because like
dog.
it was something like this. It was something like this. Some of the lyrics made no sense, but because you know it's Spirit Airlines, you can't help but laugh along with the tunes.
Mm.
And I mean, like when I remember watching older sci-fi, you know, like the older Star Trek, Star Wars, and they had their renditions of what AI was supposed to do, and you have what was that character from Star Trek, Data, and then
Yeah.
you 3CPO, and I guess Star Trek had other AI as well, and all other AI in science fiction. And you're like, well, none of those science fiction mentioned anything about my AI doing artwork, doing videos, or doing songs. They never, because they thought even if AI advances that much, Data could never do a song. He could never do the
Actually,
stuff that he didn't just come off the top of. Did he do it? I
he
don't
d-
remember now.
Data regularly painted. He played instruments and did it very well, and usually was very good at it right off. So yeah, he did art and he did stuff.
Oh, that's right. I have to apologize. I haven't watched as much New Generation as I probably should have, but I know he practiced a lot of these things. Yeah, that's right. But it's still amazing to see what it's capable of and at the speed that it's capable of. Like
Oh
you would
yeah.
think Data could just connect himself to the local printer and just start pumping out sheet after sheet of art, but no, like physically doing the things, yeah, it's pretty different.
I'd say give it some time, and I guarantee you AI will be able to do those things one way or the other. They even got people like Tesla and other companies putting AI into robots. I'd say probably another 50 years, you'd see that stuff like Data being pumped out that work a lot better. Although it's kind of terrifying too, because if it's out in robots, then funny military robots.
They took my job.
They took our gerbs.
Gonna have a lot of that. They took our jobs.
I'm just trying to figure as three. Can you imagine three PO trying to play guitar, knowing his arms only go like this and he can't move them?
Oh my God, that's right.
Walking. He can't bend his elbows all the way because they're locked. Going, goddamn, play me this song on a banjo. Well, I guess he's just screwed.
You know, I kind of want to see a funny YouTube video of C3PO and Data doing like a guitar rip-off competition or something. I think that'd be pretty funny.
Data versus 3CPO, huh? That would be interesting. It's like make them less stiff, and you might just have something.
That'd be real cool. Yeah, have a banjo fight. That'd be funny and fuck.
You could probably make that in Suno right now. Yeah.
Ding ding ding. Yeah, it'd be funny in hell.
Oh man, but like the progress on that is amazing, and how people are going to dress it in the future is really going to define which direction it goes. Whether it's going to be used more in like artistic endeavors or just as a tool or military related things. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds. Like for me, it's been like smartphones revolutionized our day-to-day lives, and I got to experience. I'm old enough that I got to experience how normal life was before internet and after internet. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm not
same.
sure, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
And
age of like Blackberries and Nokias just before like internet was just coming about, and then the age of social media, like MySpace kicked in, and all the rest of it right after.
And then Steve Jobs goes on, love him or hate him. Steve Jobs goes on his platform over at that and says, "Are you getting what I'm saying?" And it's like people didn't get what he was saying. Even those that got what he was saying didn't get what he was saying, because I think even he didn't have the expectation of what it has become. And now we're experiencing a whole new thing.
Yes.
Where we've migrated into a whole new thought process. We've gone beyond that, and now streaming was the other thing, because I don't know. I'm sure there are people that still watch cable TV, but my God, I know I unplugged my cable box like 10 years ago. For
Yeah.
me, it's either streaming or that's literally it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
I don't
either
even want. I don't even want.
No, I agree. Sorry. Come on now.
Yeah, take the camera away from me. Bark, bark, bark.
Bark, bark, bark.
Bark, bark, bark. No, what I was going to say and everything else like this. You imagine AI knowing that you're talking about and everything else like this. You remember being in high school and everything else, and you had to do a book report. Think about it. Think about it. Where'd you get your information from? The AI.
Encyclopedia Britannica, the dictionary.
Funny
Yeah,
thing is,
but yeah,
I was talking to some of my coworkers, and there are a lot of college and schools having a problem now where a lot of students are using AI to write their reports and stuff now. Like, so there are a lot of teachers
that's
who
what I'm
got
getting at.
really, really good at telling if something is AI written or not, simply because the amount of people who have been using it to write their reports. And I was guarantee if you go in the professional world, there's just as many people doing it there too. I guarantee you.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
What
have
happened to
people
doing your
writing their
homework?
resumes. Yeah, people writing their resumes in AI. People reading resumes via AI because they don't even bother. The people that are listing it just have AI do the research. So we're reaching that point where bots are talking to bots, right?
Yep.
So get your mechamart bot today. Be ahead of the curve.
The funny thing is, now that you mentioned bots
God.
talk with bots and like the old age of the internet where I remember at near the end of the life of MySpace and Facebook and Google were starting to kick in a lot more. I remember both Facebook and Google made AI robots. Both of them on separate occasions created their own language, scared the developers, and they pulled the plugs on the project. Now we have ChatGPT and whatever Facebook's working on, everything else like that nature. But I remember back like high school, like 2010 and before, it was like a weird story. It's like, oh yeah, we made a robot. It created its own language, and we decided to turn it off.
Well, at least you still have access to the on off button at that point. Yeah, the problem is when it's online. Like we've been talking, AI has been in science fiction forever. And something I wanted to bring about, and you might not have noticed, a lot of people might have not noticed, but going back to vket for a second,
Mm.
I started to notice during this particular event that most of the worlds are interconnected. And there seems to be an overarching story, which might have been easier to understand if you were part of the Japanese community. But there seems to be an overarching story that when vket occurs, so to speak, it is post-human society. That everything that you see is a recreation made by robots. Now, there's a couple of worlds that specifically address this. And a lot of the old worlds you go to basically showcase, this is humans had a war with robots, both sides lost, but you never see any more humans. And a lot of the worlds like the Fallen Eden, where you're basically in the giant 3D printer. If you play that to the end, both in the previous version and this version, the end scene that you get is you get the option of being rescued by remnants of the humanity, or you get to go back to living your dream world in a very Matrix style ending there. But then I started questioning myself, and this is a theory, a vket theory, that everything is interconnected in that fashion, and it's been pretty cool because sometimes you start to go deeper into the lore, and even though it's something simple, I mean, it's a community within VRChat. It's a great community, but it's a community within VRChat. But you start to get involved, you start to find out lots of stuff. It just made me more and more interested in participating and finding all these little tidbits of information. But yeah, it's like that falls into the whole AI thing because like they developed AI revolted, humans versus robots, and now we're in the future where they're recreating the world for the humans that remain. And we're trying to, understand what our place is in this new universe, so to speak.
You know, if we ever have the pleasure of sitting down with the people of vket again, like I know we talked to Shadow Sensei, shout out to you. I should have, if I knew about like this overarching story, I would have asked him about it. But if we ever talk with anyone else, that's a question I'm going to ask. What is the overarching story? That is interesting. I have noticed lore within the worlds that reference themselves a little bit. I just haven't put a whole lot of thought into it. But now that you mention it, it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to construct my theory. Eventually, I'll be I'll be posting everything. I've already posted like some concepts of what I think, but you'll see like here's a good example. Did you see the corporate worlds this year? Like the Dubai one, for example.
Think so,
The
yes.
one that would yeah. So the corporate world for Dubai, you had a bunch of robots that were flying around, right? And
Yes.
they basically stated, this is our reconstruction of what we think it was
Ah,
after Earth was destroyed. Those are the same robots in style that appear at the end of the 3D printer world where you get liberated at the end. So
mm.
I'm like, oh my God, it's all connected. I get that it's just VR chat. I get that it's just the game, but it's still fun to find out all these little tidbits anyway.
Mm. No, I very much agree with
But
you.
yeah,
Even with like, let's use the VCAT lore as you're mentioning here as like as a reference, but also as everything else. Even though it's just VR chat, I do enjoy those little lore pieces people put into the worlds. Even with small ones like with the LPD, if you go to the LPD station, the Pokeball is a reference and a bit of lore to Pokemon, but also the original world as well. I love those little things. VR chat's filled with them. If you're to go to Four Doors, there's a bunch of little references to the developers and stuff. It's everywhere. I love that stuff. It's fantastic.
I love the people that import things from other games or build games within the game that's like referencing other things. I mean, it's great because us as a people, people like to see things that they can relate to, right?
Mm,
So they get new experiences through old. What Hollywood doesn't understand is we don't want just to relive the same thing again and again. We want something that we recognize, but in an entirely new light. In done proper. Like there's stuff people that do that kind of thing correctly, people that do it, horribly. But if you are good introducing us to new concepts, but not like completely yanking us off of what we're used to, that we pick up really well. And VR chat is a great example of that because people are building stuff here, and everybody that builds stuff within VR chat, like most of the people, are building it based on games they've seen, on conventions they've attended, on like cartoons and stuff they watched. Everything is inspired by something else. And I always find that super exciting to see what's going to come down the line next. What great
mm,
idea are people going to implement and say, hey, I can make this work in this game. I can have like I can have like the screens in front of me like Iron Man and be interacting with them, or I can fire missiles or be on a desert planet and it's just amazing the limitations that are just our imagination for this. So
mm.
it's always super exciting to experience that.
Indeed. Also, in a nutshell, as well, if you look through all the VR chat worlds over time, especially the ones that are no longer being updated, their references are and everything are little screenshots of when they were made or when they were being developed. Like the memes reference, the songs in which they chose to play in the songs, the photos in which are there. They're quite literally snippets in time, like you can explore through. It's not just like going to like the YouTube rewind or whatever. It's like a world you explore where you'll see like the video YouTube rewind video or whatever playing in the media player, photos, references, memes, everything's a reference to things of its time. And then as people move on and make new worlds, you can see they look better, they're different, the tech, how people have improved. It's like little screenshots in a sense.
VR chat's been around for what, nine years now? I mean, I know most people started playing
2014, I think, was when it
2016.
technically started, but that was like when the few people did things and it was kind of more private, but it didn't hit Steam until 2017, I think. I could be very wrong. I apologize.
That sounds about right, actually. 2017 is when I hear a lot of my friends, which consider themselves old timers in VR chat, that have actually started. Like I only started 3 years later, but like I've been long in VR chat now for about I would say about 4 years. It's been almost 4 years, and it's been just amazing. And you're absolutely right. Now that it's been like six, my math's gone bad, but now that it's been a good 6 to 8 years, you're going to see a lot of that history from like way back when. And people like to say, "Oh man, I remember this world," and you go into it, and all the memes in that world are from the 2018, 2019 memes. And now you have stuff that's, been since then. So yeah, it'll be interesting. There'll be VR chat historians Oh my
Mm.
god, that could be a whole series itself.
Well, like for example, the
So-
Uganda Knuckles, for example, you go to a world from like 2020, the Uganda Knuckles, do you know the way stuff. But if you go back to like 2017 or before, it's suicide is painless meme. Same Uganda Knuckles, but very different. And you can see the snippets of history based on when you join, like things that reference Uganda Knuckles based on the year, as an example of like references and things, screenshots in time.
Yeah, it's all pretty exciting to see that developing and be part of the development of that as things
Mm.
move forward in time. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm very excited to see where it goes in the future too. So
Mm. You know, over time, I hope Raptor and I have talked with everybody, got as much lore and history as possible. Future thing before I shut everything down decades down the road, I'd like to do a giant VRChat history map that'll show like who started to win and where and who they're connected to. And you just go walk around the world, click things, see little bubbles and stuff. Although that's
oh, that would be
sorry,
Sounds like a-
Future
awesome.
Lion. I know
Sounds
Future
like
Lion from a decade in the future is gonna look at this and tell me I hate you. Go fuck yourself, but you're welcome.
yeah, like a family tree that branches everywhere and it just keeps growing.
Something something Alabama, yes.
That's in,
Wasn't going that deep, but okay, no problem. Understand. Yeah, you want to do the Alabama fucking? Oh wow, you shit.
You were- so you-
oh my god, yeah. I mean, it's actually a fantastic thing. The fact that you can upload as many worlds as you can because there's basically no limit. Not that I'm saying that you should upload worlds nonstop, but having worlds and your old ones and keeping them at least visitable. There's a new word. At least you can visit them. That are snapshots of what your interests were, like your drawings, your avatars, your friends at the time. And then move forward in time. It'll be very nostalgic for you coming in the future to be able to go back to those things and say, "Oh man, this is what I used to do." And not just it's like visiting an old home.
yeah.
That I used to live here. I moved to these cities. Now you go back to it's like wow. And when you say nothing has changed, literally nothing will change because it doesn't it doesn't grow on its own. So I think
Mm.
it's very worthwhile if you have the opportunity to take your pictures, record your videos, create your worlds, create your avatars or edit your avatars, and save them. Don't always delete them. Have them backed up somewhere because one day you're going to be able to pull them out of the bag, dust them off, and there'll be a whole new trip down memory lane for you.
Mm. You know, speaking of that trip down memory lane, there's a few worlds that I went to visit, like Raptor and I, our friend group, would hang out in. And as soon as I get in the world, I could immediately just like not realistically, but the memories would pop and I could hear the friend group running around, the jokes we would tell, the like I can immediately just start seeing everything in the world that happened there. It is a great experience to go back and visit. Like if you ever have like a world you have memories in, if the long as they're not painful, it is nice to go back. Even at home, if in the real world as well, I used to hang out as a child. I find it very, very pleasing to go back and kind of think of all the good times. It's nice. VRChat, you could have that as well, like with animations, photos, videos as well. I agree.
Did you guys start out with VR headsets, or did you progress from PC to VR to? I know you've had full body, you don't yet, but
I
I
I
was a
started.
stiffy.
Uh,
I was a stiffy. I started out as a stiffy before I got my headset, and it was
Been at it a
actually
long
an
time?
accident because I've been on here for 6 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. You've been here for a while. You've been here for a while.
Uh, yeah, but I got the headset not for me. I got it for my daughter for anxiety, but I don't had to try it, and I got addicted to it. Just the way it works. Yeah.
I hopped in from playing Half-Life Alex. I bought my Valve Index for Half-Life Alex specifically, and I finished it with, wow, that was amazing. What other cool experiences are there? Went into the VR Steam store at the time. Why isn't there anything? And I saw this VR chat thing I recognized. It's, you'll just go in here. It's free. What can it hurt? Never stopped since. It has taken over everything. Like I no longer watch TV as much anymore. I don't do video games as much anymore. I come here to chat with friends. I do Metaverse Degen, and this is everything now. This is entertainment.
It's a very good It's a good entertainment because you socialize with a lot of people, which is what video games used to be all about. Anyway, like I was like before internet and stuff. You wanted to play a game with a friend, you had to physically go to their house, right?
Yeah.
So you take your video game over. to bring their video game. You wanted a PC game network. You needed to grab your computer, your monitor, your power supply. You haul all that shit over to your friend's house, set up a network. You're going to be playing all weekend. It was a blast, but it was a shit ton of work. We only did it 2 or 3 times a year. But nowadays, you're playing massively multiplayer online, but usually playing with 3 or 4 friends. Being VR chat allows you to have dozens of groups of people that you interact with. And some friendships are going to be more involved than others. But you are going to have exposure to so many people in an environment that, for the most part, is pretty safe. Because if you're in a bad experience that you don't want to be, you can always quickly exit out. You have a problem, you don't have to pay transportation, you don't have to pay maintenance, you don't have to pay for bodies. You can just use public avatars the whole time. So it's a great. It's not gaming as you traditionally see it, but it's like a whole new thing. And it's amazing because I was actually visiting a school today, and I saw a classroom, and they all had VR headsets on. First time I've seen that.
Really?
I believe it was math because of
That's
the stuff
cool.
that I saw on the board. But like they had all, and they were Quest 3s. Oh my God.
Oh,
They're
you
all
know,
Quest 3s.
I remember I was world hopping in VRChat once, and I found this world which was made by a teacher. Like you hop into it, and there's a big board that explains what it is, and it was like I think it was recreation of Rome or Greece, as like it was very low poly, very optimized, but it was made for a class in order to teach history of Rome or Greece. I don't remember which one, but I remember I can imagine. I think it was Greece, but you could walk through the world, and it would show things, it would explain things as you went with little pictures. I'm sure that she held a class in there, and that is a really cool aspect to use VR to teach. Like we even had a chance of meeting a group that teaches language in VR. Like there's a few of them, like with Haya, and then another group, the Phoenix Academy, which uses role play to teach language as well in VR, which is really neat.
Have you got a chance to interview Haya? Yeah, no, she's fantastic.
She's on the
She
schedule.
is the nicest.
She's on the schedule.
She
She's
is the
coming.
nicest person.
When this
She's
releases,
if you get
it'll already be there. As of now, when we're recording this, it's coming.
don't miss the Haya one. She is a fantastic, one of the nicest people you could ever meet. So pleasant to talk to. She's so experienced. She holds tours in VR through Japan. She teaches Japanese to English. She's learning to speak English. It's just amazing. She contributes so much, and she helped me out so much with my own booth that I can eternally grateful to both her and, of course, Potato, which also helped out with doing the translation. So many people help me out. It is not, booths are not something, if you want to make something complex, you can try to do it on your own, but believe me, you're going to have a much better time if you do it with friends, because it is a worthwhile community experience. You're going to do a lot of work on your own, but having people participate in it is always a bonus.
I would like to correct myself real quick because my brain mixture dates up. Haya is coming, but it is not yet. Pay attention. Check out for the announcements coming. Haya'll be showing up here. I promise. And you said something earlier that got me excited. I remembered something else I saw in VRChat. There's a player who does VJing here in VRChat named Regen Storm. And you mentioned back in the day you'd have to go to your friend's house in the age of couch gaming. Well, I popped in one of the streams and they figured out how to bring that back in VRChat with couch gaming. Like they used a lot of their equipment in real life to rig their Steam handset and a streaming computer together, so that in the world you can sit there with Regen and her as she plays the game, but you're there on the couch in VRChat with her watching her play while it shows you with her. It's like a couch gaming revamp in VR. I thought it was really neat. Regen Storm, you're amazing, and if you haven't seen her streams, you should go couch gaming in VRChat. It's great. Sorry, I had to.
Definitely link me that, because I do want to see that. That sounds like a great experience. And like a whole new thing that you can do with VR chat. I mean, you had DJs. They had a comedy show over at the vket, like a comedy club, like the Failed to Render. Have you interviewed Failed to Render? Oh, they are amazing.
I've reached out to them, but I have not talked to them. But I did talk with another comedy club, Alaskan Jew with Punchline Comedy. They're amazing too. If you haven't seen them, I would heavily suggest going to their show. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I've got to try a lot more of those out. Have you had a chance, Raptor, to see any shows in VR or like not just DJ performances, but like comedy or music shows?
Yeah, I've seen a few comment. I can't remember everybody, but I get a kick out of Cat when we were when we had our booth and stuff like that. She was singing, and I was just roaming around, taking a breather, just roaming around to get the check. This line came in, and that girl started to sing, and I had to back up literally and go back. And I know people sing in here, but wow, she was singing, and I was back there just listening and everything else like this. And I talked to her for a little bit, and I go, you pay attention to the people that are actually listening to you, and it's always the ones that are further back and everything in your audience, because they want to hear. They'll turn everybody off to listen to what you have. They're not dead up in your face. They want to give you room and stuff like this. And she got me to come back and listen. And I'm going, holy Christ. And then I started bouncing around. Crispy, friend of ours, and everything else like this. She pulled us into a world, and there were people singing and stuff like that. We've had a few others that we went to. I got invited. I get people to invite me all the time to go see their performances and stuff like this. And I sit and listen. I really do sit and listen to, because that takes a lot to stand up there. I don't got a voice. Line here's me singing the music that I've got on YouTube or something like this, or whatever the deal is in the background. It probably sounds like somebody scratching at a chicken at a fence, trying to get out, or weasels chasing his ass around. But
Or two cats fucking.
there's no, that'd be too. Why did you go with cat?
Have you heard two cats going at it? It's not pleasant. Sorry,
Well, no,
bad
but I
joke.
would have said two ants. I would have said, no, it wasn't a bad joke. I was going to say two ants going at it. You don't see ants getting it on and making sounds, but nobody records that. But yeah, there's a lot of different artists in here besides your DJs and your raves and stuff like this. And some of them will play guitars or pianos. I went to a Black Cat. I got invited to a Black Cat, and I wasn't even part of that group. Had nothing to do with them. Didn't even know him from Adam. And I was running around. This guy was over in the corner of Black Cat and everything else like this, and was playing on a piano. He wasn't on stage. He wasn't a Black Cat playing on stage. He was just there. And I'm the kind of person, when I hear somebody play a piano, I go up, hey, can you play the Piano Man? That man played it from end to the beginning. And I'm going, wow. And then everything else. And this other guy, before it was over with, I ended up with four more friends off the list out of nowhere add me, because holy Christ. And there's a lot, don't get me wrong, they're not playing in full body because they haven't got that ability yet. It's a little hard with your hands and stuff like this when you got a controller, unless you're doing it with no controllers. But wow. It's amazing what people do in here, and it gets my attention when you hear somebody sing or play, or the joke comedy stuff. I haven't been to one of those yet. I'd like to be one of those to see. I've had people tell me I should be up on stage telling jokes. No, you don't.
Yes,
No,
yes,
you
you do.
Because I have an open.
I'll get you in the Punchline Comedy server.
No,
You can go to a show,
no, please.
and then maybe I'll convince Alaskan
God,
to help me bully you onto stage.
I get up there, I'm going to be a total
watch
jackass. Total jackass. I do. Well, you better make sure it's early in the morning when I'm having coffee. That's about
It's
the
late
best
at night,
fucking performance
but we'll
you're going
get
to
you
get
late
out
at
of
night
me.
when you're delirious. It's still just as funny.
That or drunk, whatever comes first. Yeah, usually that's funny. But yeah.
Now, this brings up a really good side of Vrchat that not a lot of people realize, or you start to realize once you've played enough. There are a lot of experiences, and some of them are world, some of them are avatars, some of them are social, but a lot of them are performers in Vrchat doing live shows. You've got your dancers, you've got your DJs, you've got your musicians, you've got your comedians, you've got people doing RP Warhammer, like the police department. It's got everything. Finding it's a little bit difficult. You need to know a
Mm.
guy that knows a guy that knows a guy.
Oh
And
yeah.
some of them are limited, some of them are paid experiences that you need to be able to go into, a couple of them anyway, like Virality, for example. But look around, ask around. Something that I highly recommend that falls into the vket, and I know you've been to one of these. Like every Wednesday, the people from the global team of Virtual Market, they do something called a World Hop.
Mm.
So what they'll do is they'll gather people together and they'll go visit old vket worlds, and you'll learn about the lore of these worlds. About You'll see previous events, avatars that were for sale. You'll find out a little bit of history of the Virtual Market and the people behind those. The cool thing about this is a lot of big names show up at these meetups. People that have heard about vket are interested in participating, but they come to this World Hop to see what everything is about. I have met so many people during these World Hops that are just like, how's this person here? I would never thought I would see them, and here they are, and they're just walking along, and they'll actually come up to you. You can, obviously got to be, professional, polite, and everything. But they'll comment about the avatars you're talking about. You can make a joke with them. And they're most of them
Mm.
perfectly normal people, and it's been so great for networking. So if you're an avatar creator, or you're somebody that has a community leader, or pretty much anything, you just want to meet a bunch of great people, I would highly recommend participating in these, because it's a great experience for starters, and it's great for you to get um, involved in communities and learn about these people that are the minds behind creation of content for VRChat creators. I mean, even
Mm.
Tupper's been in a couple of them, and uh, geez, Louisa, we have so many people. So highly,
Mm.
highly recommended. And that's
Cool.
every Wednesday at, I think, 9 p.m. Eastern till around 11:30 Eastern, more or less. So it's a little bit later in the day, but I highly
Mm.
recommend it. Yeah.
Another group I would highly recommend to you as well, in order just for fun and seeing, is the VRChat circuit. The VRChat Circus, I think it is, run by Down Lyric. He goes through. He has like he's words been making avatars for a very long time, like 500 plus avatars. He makes experiences. He makes worlds within worlds through avatars with entire shaders that'll just take over the whole world and create an entire new experience. And through the circus, he'll like create shows and stuff. Like for PJKT this year, for the talent show that never happened, he created it like a musical experience that took over the world. You watched versions of him dance and sing and do some cool stuff within a shader. So if you want to see some cool experiences, the circus is a pretty cool place to go experience as well.
I would love to see that. I'm going to get a link from you later. But you spoke of Project Community. Project Community was another project. I met the people from Project Community within
Mm.
the VR
Oh,
chat. I actually met Peace Light in Japan when I went to go visit there
oh,
last March at the Hiki office, which are the people that organize vket. And I wanted to participate in it. And unfortunately, it coincided with a trip of mine, with that very same trip that was pushed back when I was making my booth.
mm,
So I wasn't able to participate in Project Community this year. But I really, really, really hope that next year it's going to not coincide with my vacation time, and I'll be able to actually go, because I wanted to be able to show off the
mm.
Kimono Cafe and possibly mechamart at this event too.
Mm.
So I'm really
Well,
looking forward to next year's event.
I'm also volunteering for that for community reach out, and I'm going to bully you till you actually get in there next year. Even if you have to reschedule your vacation, you got to show up. PGKT is amazing. I'd love to see both your booths there.
It really is. The people that work there have been so kind and so friendly and so amazing, so open to interaction. I've interacted a lot, because DeathMap's always at these. DeathMap,
Mm,
Peace Light, and there's like a whole bunch of other people. Sorry, I don't remember everybody's name, but you guys are amazing. You do an amazing job. I'm really thankful that you put out this thing. And I know they had a couple of problems with the SDK this year, but they put so much effort into what they do, and I absolutely love this about them, is the
mm,
fact that they put the effort into it and get the people to work together. And I wish them all the best for like the future conventions too. So
mm. Have you been to the 2024 Fest World yet? Even it's up now. You can go visit it. If you haven't, I would
um,
heavily suggest you do, just to see the booths and at least how well they did, because they went above and beyond this year. I think like 107 communities, maybe more, show up to this year's fest. Like, it was wild.
Well, you said the project community or a different event? I didn't quite
PJKT
catch that.
PJKT Fest. This year for
I
PJKT,
didn't realize the world
they
was still up.
pushed. Yeah, it's still up. They leave it up every year. They pushed all of a bunch of events together, like the Lens. They pushed together all of a lot of their events. They shoved together this year in a 1 week event, 1 week festival. So you can go to the 2024 Fest World now and explore it. I would suggest it if you're into that kind of thing. Most definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely that. I was wondering what I was going to do after this. Now I got something to do after this. Oh, that also reminds me, Raptor. Later on, I'm also going to want to see if they're still doing those if that singing thing is a regularly scheduled event. Oh, I would love to see that too.
Well, if you want to do singing and
That
stuff,
was with
that was, I believe, that the
that was with
vket's
Chris.
at vket after party. I think one where we went to with Crispy and we saw Cat
With
there.
Crispy and
Yeah,
Cat,
that was a
Cat
vket
and a
after
whole
party.
bunch of other people.
But if you want a community
Yeah,
that
Cobell
does
was
shows,
there.
no, it was a while ago.
No.
It was a while ago. But
It was
if
last
you
week.
wish
It
for
was
a
last
community,
week.
yeah, if you wish for a community that does singing and stuff, unfortunately, can't suggest Artifacts, but I would suggest Corbell and his community. He does a whole bunch of musical events, brings performers and stuff. So if you wish to see that kind of shows, if you go into Corbell's community, you can very much so like experience that kind of thing there as well.
Yeah, Corbell was one of the people that I met during the World Hops. So yeah, definitely gonna be stopping by over there and joining that community, see if I can visit it. There was something else I was going to mention. What was it? The project community, the Corbell. Yeah, there's just like so much stuff. Oh, the dancing community. What was it?
New Eden?
New Eden? Was it New Eden?
New Eden?
Oh my God. I didn't get to go because it was packed full during the last weekend they had that, but I saw the videos of it. Oh my God. I wanted to have seen those. I wanted to have seen those one day. One day I'll be able to catch that. Somebody please invite me.
Well,
And that would be wonderful. I would absolutely love to see those live presentations because I've seen some of these streamers online and the dancing routines they make are amazing.
I believe New Eden runs regular events. Actually, they're not just like a dance community, but they have their own world. They run big events. I would, if you want to go see like what they do, you can go into the Discord. I believe they'll do event shout outs, or you can go see one outside of.
Oh, if I can get into one of those, one of these times, I do want to be able to go catch that because it sounds like it's amazing. Because what these people manage to do with trackers, like you've seen me, my legs have been flying all over the place all night long. But it's what they do with theirs and how they manage to get their stable. It's like, tell me what equipment you have because I want to have that kind of stability. I did do VR dancing at one point, but it was mostly like just for exercise and health, and that's another big aspect of VRchat itself. Is like it gives you it takes away the anxiety of being able to dance in front of strangers. Because hey, if you don't like it, you can always jump off the world. People seem to enjoy it too. So I really like that aspect of it. Oh man, yeah.
So much here. Like what you said earlier is like you can't possibly see it all. No, you can't. Like there's no one way to like see all of these groups and events. There's so many things happening all the time, and if the longer you wait, the more sprouts up. Like all of these groups we've mentioned and people, like they inspire others, and like another year there'll be like another more, kind of like a hydra. As soon as one head goes, there like two more will sprout out of it. You like this community is amazing. What kind of stuff you can go experience and see, and it's impossible to talk with everyone. I know Raptor and I said at one point we want to talk with everyone, but it's impossible just to see everybody, let alone anything else. So much to do. Like you don't even, I would say if once VR takes off, I don't see a need for a TV anymore. You won't need to see stream videos or movies. Why would you go do that when you go see a virtual show? Why would you want to watch a static movie when you can go in a VRchat world and go experience the movie instead? Like there's a world I come across as a giant alien invasion, and you're in the center of the field, and you get to watch the giant ship come down at you and destroy the planet. Like, why would you want to see an alien invasion movie? You can just experience it here instead. Like there's no need. At least that's what I think.
It's definitely a new form of entertainment. It's going to be a while before it evolves to that point, but you can be here today and see like it's in its basic infancy and experiences like Mechamart, where it puts you inside the world and everything's happening around you. That's kind of what I'm going for. It's like you're there, you're part of the action. And people that go to the booth, I recommend going more than once. Not because I like to have you there, because I do like to have you there, but if you're looking at different directions, stuff's happening all over the place. Like towards the end, when the final battle's taking place, I know the entire focus is in the front, but if you look in the back, one of the monitors is doing a Windows update.
The Windows
And
updates
if you
always at the most inconvenient time. I know you're in the middle of a space battle and you're all gonna die, and you need the computer to turn the pods on, but update.
you got to do your updates. You got to do your updates. There's another one that I like to point out too. Like people that have watched Avengers Endgame, like the first one, at the bottom of the bridge, one of the robots there is actually playing Galaga on one of the computer monitors.
That is
Shout out to
awesome.
the Iron Man scene. I absolutely love that. I knew when I made that, I wanted to use that reference.
Thanks. Make me feel even more oral. Oh, what do you get? Yeah, I'm gonna play Galaga. Yeah, no problem.
Galaga was a good game. It was a genius game for its time. Considering what they had to program that shit in.
I'm gonna hit.
Yes, it was a hellacious game.
I want to hit you in the childhood. Do you remember back in the day when you and I were kids, and in order to play a computer game, you had a booklet of CDs for it, like Doom 2, for an example. You couldn't just slide one disc in and play it. You played it until you reached the end of disc 1. Then you went to disc 2 and played it to the end of disc 2. And then if you want to go to floppy disks, you had a lot more than 12. This went on forever.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, this guy's complaining about having 2 discs. We had what was like, I remember my LucasArts collection was like 17 floppies to install. I was like, the first computer I had still had floppies. We couldn't afford a CD drive because it was fancy. But like, I wanted to play. It's like, please insert disc 5, disc 6. So thank goodness they let us install it on my gigantic, enormous 1.2 gigabyte hard drive, which ran out of space all the time because I kept on trying to install all the games I had on it. Oh my god!
Do you remember Windows XP operating system install and all those floppy disks you had to put into it? Please imagine how long it takes a Windows update, audience member. Now imagine that's each individual floppy disk, and you had like 20 of them to get the operating system in there. No.
Fucking sucked.
It did.
Flat out sucked.
Oh yeah, I remember those days. No, I'm glad we just have a single install. Click the button. Then you wait 3 hours instead of you wait 3 hours, put in floppy disk 2, wait another 3 hours, put another floppy disk 3.
And then what really sucked is what really sucks is when your dad comes over and goes, "That's enough gaming." Click. You're going, "Oh no." Shit. And you gotta start all over again. And you're going, "Thanks, Dad. What did I do wrong?" You don't know, do you? No. Go do your homework.
I think game developers. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Game developers are getting lazy nowadays because, like I said, my first computer had like 1.2 gigs worth of hard drive space. I went to install a Sea of Thieves the other day. 352 gigs.
Yeah.
I partially understand because it's a good quality game, but 300, it's like that's a freaking third of my hard drive. And I thought I had just terrible.
You think Sea of Thieves is bad? Call of Duty just gets bigger every fucking year. If you pick any Age of Call of Duty game, they still update all of them. And then you install the 100 gigs for the initial game and then updates afterwards. I purposely think they're making them that big so you can't play any other games because it takes up your whole hard drive. 100 gig Call of Duty, all the updates, 500 gigs of game, and then every week or so it's a new update. Here's another 5 gigs, here's another 10 gigs, here's another 5 gigs. No. Just optimize it, damn it.
Eve's another one.
Oh.
Eve's another one that's fucking really huge. Yeah, I've got it, and you go, "My God, Jesus Christ!" It's bad enough. I've got nothing's on my main. I got a separate external hard drive just to load some of these games onto because I wouldn't have any space to run the system. It'd be fucking smoking over here, going, "Help! I can't operate." Well, I guess I'll never get this game done.
Meanwhile, you have other people that are running Doom on a calculator or in Minecraft. But that brings me to the thing. It's all about efficiency. You can make fun interactions not using a lot. You just have to focus, and I'm not gonna say it, not be lazy or not just go too crazy on the extras. That was the core of like making booths for virtual market or a lot of the stuff that I do. You want to make it, keep it realistic, keep it simple, and then see how much you can cram into that limitation, because you will learn to be a better developer, a better modeler, a better texture artist if you work within limits for yourself. Because when your limits are expanded, man, then you can go way beyond. But if you just like load it up and make your 2 terabyte avatar, and now VRChat apparently is cracking down on a lot of that, because like the limitations are going to become more and more and more. You're going to hit a glass wall real quick, where you're not going to, a glass ceiling where you're not going to be able to go beyond that, and you won't know how to do it any other way. So if you're thinking about getting to it, don't worry about making the flashiest thing alive. Start simple, start easy, and then maximize what you learn into that small package, and then you grow from there. At least that's been my way of learning to do things, and for me, it's worked out pretty good. So I recommend it for any creator.
So you're trying to say what my dad always says is you want to be kissed.
Which is?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. I love that. I gotta make a T-shirt with that. Keep it simple.
Well,
you have been kissed. Keep it simple, stupid. Yep.
I would like to have a funny idea. Just imagine playing like Sea of Thieves or Call of Duty, but everything is loaded on floppy disks. So special edition, the entire game is forced into a floppy disk or a disc, and you had to play the game like that. Is it optimized enough where you can fit it in fewer, or you can have like 100 to 200 floppy disks just to play the fucking game?
Have you ever seen the alpha for that? The alpha looked like it probably would fit on floppy disks. It's literally like just like the cubes and spheres and cylinders, just with pirate faces and a sword. That game has come a long way. Yeah.
Well, I'll say very much, Nekonny. Thank you for taking the time and letting us have you back and hearing what you're working on and chatting about the good old days. Back when I was the kid, we had floppy disks and we played games. Thank you. It was a wonderful time.
Yes, it's great seeing you again. Definitely.
I really appreciate you guys having me on again. Always a pleasure. I'm glad the show's going great. I'm glad hearing about, I don't know if we're supposed to talk about it yet, but the new projects that you're working on.
Indeed.
I'm very excited to see that too. I hope everybody tunes in and like subscribes and does everything that you need to do to keep advance your career, because this is fantastic. I love you guys having you here in VRChat. Talking about people and everything that's happening. It's really great for you guys to be doing this, and I applaud your efforts in this. So.
Thank you. It means a lot, and it's awesome to hear what you're working on too with the avatars and booths and Kimono Cafe. Where can people find those things if they wish to find those things you're working on?
So the last vket is not up again, but hopefully within the next month or two, it should be back up again. As soon as it is, I will send Lion here a link so that he can include it in the description of the video. In the meantime, you can look for our previous booth, which is in World End Utopia 4010. If you just search for 4010, you'll see it. World End Utopia 4010. It's about 2/3 of the way through the map, and you can't miss it. The mechamart booth is it's out there. Go in with your audio on. If you're taking a friend, go in at the same time and enjoy the ride. And when the new one does come back online, watch that one too, because it's a continuation of the same story. So it's like a progressive story.
Oh, okay. Well,
for the Kimono Cafe, for the Kimono Cafe, you have to go to other VKet worlds as well. I think the best one would be Luluana Resort Beach. It's a Quest compatible world for you people that are only on Quest. You can experience the entire Kimono Cafe experience as you're in Quest. So Luluana Resort Beach.
And I believe the Kimono Cafe within the community YouTube should also have videos of you acting as Sandy, doing those things we found out in the last podcast you did with us. So all of their links will be in the Hoobly What's a Thingamabobble down that way. And now we leave to the question for you, the audience. What are some things you remember from when you were a kid? You heard some of me, Raptors, and Nekonny's with floppy disks, multiple disks, and loading operating systems, but what's yours? We'd love to hear all about it. Let us know in the comment section down that way. And Raptor, you know the thing.
You got it. No matter what, folks, enjoy your time in here and have a good time. And if you use AI or whatever the deal, maybe they can help me comb this sand. I'm looking for my contact. I still haven't found it. It's out there somewhere. But if you find it, don't give it to me because I ain't going to see shit either. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Mechamart for the win. Everything you need within. Prices cut and smiles bright. Shop with us day or night. Mechamart, where the savings starts. Mechamart, it's a shopping art. Lots of food and toys galore. Find it all at one big store. Happy breaks to see them shine. Mechamart, we're feeling fine. Roll the carts down every aisle. Catch the deals, they're versatile. Mechamart, the place to be. Joy and value guaranteed. Mechamart, where the savings starts. Mechamart, it's a shopping art. While the fun, the choice is clear. Mechamart, we're always near. Come and see, just take a